listening to The Terrific Teacherpreneur, a podcast for teachers looking to grow a successful online business. Your host, Alex, was able to transform her Teachers Pay Teachers store from a small side hustle into a profitable full-time business. She now helps other teachers do the same. Listen along for actionable tips and helpful wisdom about business and marketing as a teacherpreneur. Here's your host, Alex.
Hello and welcome to the Terrific Teacherpreneur podcast. In this episode, I'm talking about email marketing, but specifically I want to talk about lead magnets or opt-ins as they are also known. And I'm going to go through some of the basics, like, what is it, that kind of thing, but also a bit more of a deep dive into making a great one. And I really hope this helps if you're new to starting email marketing, thinking about starting your email list soon and you kind of want to know the basics. But even if you already have an email list, it can be really handy to make sure that you know what you're doing when it comes to lead magnets. So let's get started. Okay, so first up, the absolute basics. What is a lead magnet? It is a free item that you're giving away in exchange for someone's email address. Now, in the marketing world, it can be anything from informative PDF documents, checklists, ebooks, webinars, guides, workbooks, quizzes, surveys, polls, all that kind of thing. And specifically in the TPT world, it's usually something that a teacher will use in their classroom during their planning time or with their students. And so if you are already making resources in a TPT store, you are capable of making a lead magnet. I actually had someone ask the question to me once. They said, I'd love to learn about lead magnets, and should you be giving away like a free product as your lead magnet or perhaps more of a checklist type of thing? And it's honestly really up to you. If you are in a certain niche and you could create some kind of PDF supporting helpful document or checklist that your buyers would love, then go for it. Like, there's absolutely nothing stopping you there. And I think that can actually be really helpful to people. But most sellers tend to opt for some kind of resource that the teacher can use with students. And that's great too. So I don't really think there's a wrong answer there. Now, just creating a lead magnet isn't quite as, good enough, basically. I personally wouldn't be handing over my email address if something was kind of lackluster in terms of the free items. So I think it's really important to have a good lead magnet, and you want to have a great one that's going to attract more people. So don't rush the creation of this. Don't just grab something really average that you already have, like on your computer, or otherwise just haven't put a lot of thought into. I know it's just a freebie, but in this situation, I think it's good to treat it kind of like a paid resource, because although you're not asking for money, you are asking for someone's personal contact information. So that's kind of a big deal. And something that is really important to keep in mind with lead magnets is it's really is something that's going to affect the growth of your email list, the type of people that you attract. You do not want to be attracting the wrong kind of person. So it's really important to be mindful, like as you're making it, creating something great, but it's also creating something that's going to attract your ideal customer is definitely my tip there. A lot of people have sort of asked me in the past, like, well, what makes a great lead magnet, that kind of thing. So I would say it's something that's going to, like if it's a PDF or some kind of document, maybe it would offer expert insight or knowledge or something, but a lot of the time you're just making something that's, a creative or unique solution to that problem the buyer has. They're struggling to teach something, their students are struggling to grasp a concept, or maybe the teacher is really time poor, that kind of thing. And your freebie is just like this really great thing that's going to make their life easier. So it needs to be something irresistible. I would say something that your buyer, like your ideal buyer on TPT, would really, really want, but probably hopefully really need, preferably both. So you want them to be kind of drawn to it and be like, oh my goodness, this looks so good. And it's free. I'm happy to give my email address. Like there's no qualms there, because they just they need it right now. That looks really great. You want them to kind of be in awe that it's being offered for free. Like, oh wow, I don't want to miss this opportunity. It looks really great and it's free. And I have that problem and this is going to solve my problem. Let's just think about that customer. Like, what are they struggling with? Maybe they're thinking, I'm really, really struggling with how to teach this certain subject area and this specific topic, and my kids just aren't grasping it. And I really need an engaging activity for that. So make sure your lead magnet is the solution that's going to make them go like, oh yeah, I really need this and I need it right now. Now, the other thing to keep in mind with lead magnets is it doesn't have to be this massive document. So it's kind of like a free resource on TPT. It's probably not going to be more than 10 pages long. You don't need to be giving away some 50-page document. But also, you probably don't want to have it so small that maybe it's only one page, because it, if you're not careful, it might not be tempting enough to attract subscribers. So if it happens to be one page because that's what makes sense, because you're doing some kind of checklist, well, that's fine. But in terms of like giving away, an activity or something, it can be handy, I think, if it's substantial enough for people to go, ooh, I love that this is free. I'm so excited. Not like, oh, it's just like another meh freebie. Because if it's kind of meh, they can just kind of go on TPT and probably find another freebie that fits that need, and they can just like download it without having to give their email address away. So, you don't want them to be oohing and ahhing and then just going elsewhere. You kind of want them to go, wow, I need this right now. I don't care about giving my email address away. This is going to be so helpful. Think of like what's kind of holding them back when it comes to these kind of things is like, this is my precious personal piece of information. This is my email address. I don't really want to be harassed by this person. Like, people do consider their emails somewhat sacred because, you don't want to have your inbox full of all this junk. So people can have that hesitancy. Do I want to hand this over to someone? Like, do I really want all these emails coming into my inbox? They got that hesitancy. And so you kind of want to dispel that. You want to make them think that doesn't even matter. I couldn't even care less because I desperately really want this thing, this free thing someone's offering. And suddenly that kind of it's like, it's so good. It makes the whole anxiety about giving your email address away like no big deal. Now, every buyer is different. Some people couldn't care less about giving away their email address. Other people are really precious about it. But overall, it still is something that people can be hesitant about. So you want them to go, I don't care. I really don't. Like, it's free. It's awesome. I need this right now. It's going to help me. Here's my email. Anyway, so in summary, your lead magnet is a free item that you're giving away in exchange for an email address. And you really want to try and solve your buyer's problem. Make sure it's perfect for your ideal customer. Really designed for them. It's going to attract the right people. And it's something that's really kind of engaging, irresistible in some way that is going to help them. Now, there's a lot more to learn about lead magnets. This is not everything. I just wanted to give like a little brief overview. If you want to learn more about like lead magnets specifically, but just email marketing in general, I will put a link in the show notes. I do have a course for TPT sellers about email marketing. And it's great whether you are brand new and you haven't started your email list yet, or whether you are really seasoned and you've got this big list, but you're struggling to make sales. Like, whatever point you're at, it's going to help you. So I will put a link to that in the show notes. It's open right now. It's evergreen at the moment, so you can just join whenever. Definitely check it out. But yeah, overall, I would say that your email list success can kind of come down to the success of your lead magnet. So I would be putting in the time to making a great one. And in answer to the question of, I know this is something people are going to want to know, like, do you need to have a lot of lead magnets? I would also probably just say, if you're starting off with an email list, you can just start off with one. And if you're someone with an established list, yes, you will probably have a nice big handful. Don't feel like you need to have like 20 of them though. If you're excessively making lots of them, it's not really converting, like something's going on there. You can probably grow a great email list with one great one. So take the time, like, to quality over quantity, have like a great lead magnet, as opposed to like 20 crappy ones that no one's really signing up for. And the final thing I want to add, because I know this is another question people often have about lead magnets, is, should it be something from my TPT store? Can I just grab something that I already have offered in there? It's like a freebie or whatever. You can. There's no like rule here saying, no, you cannot. But my personal opinion is you're probably better off creating something fresh and unique that your potential followers on TPT, people in your audience haven't seen before. This is just my opinion. Like I said, not a rule here, but if I were a buyer in your audience and I gave away my email address because I saw that you were advertising this freebie on Instagram, I was like, oh, and I signed up for it. And then later happened to be in your store looking at resources and stuff, or later on you happened to mark it to me, and I could see that you're actually offering that freebie anyway, and I could have gotten it without giving my email address away. I'm not saying I would be like, super angry, but I'd be a bit like, because it's like, well, why did I have to give my email address to you? Why do I have to get all these emails in my inbox from you? I could have just gotten it for free with no hassle. That might kind of get people a little bit like, So something to think about is you kind of want it to be this special thing that makes it worth being on your email list. Like, hey, you're this special person. Not everyone gets access to this. It's not some free for all. It's not in my store. Not everyone has this. Is like a special freebie that only people on my email list get. You're kind of enticing them to join your email list. So I think it can be really worthwhile. So not to say that you can never use something within your store, but I think if you're, designing your first ever lead magnet, maybe make one from scratch that's going to be really enticing to your buyers, and it's not something they can just get anyway. And if, once you've got an established email list, you've got lots of lead magnet already, and you want to have another one that's something already in your store, like there's no rule against that. But when you're first designing them, you're first growing your email list, I think it is worthwhile to put in the time so that you have one or some that are unique to your email list. That's just my thought. But it is obviously up to you in the end. But anyway, I hope that this episode has helped. If you're brand new to email marketing, I hope it's given you something to think about with like, oh, okay, now I kind of know what a lead magnet is. That's great. If you've been selling for a while and we've had an email list for a while, you've probably already created lots of lead magnets. I'm still hoping that one little golden nugget you might have gotten from this episode is the fact that I talked a lot about creating a great one and creating one that's for your ideal customer, because it's very easy to throw up a lead magnet and then for it to just not work for you. And it doesn't really attract anyone because it's just not great. And sometimes it's nice to have someone kind of in your ear going, hey, if you put a bit more effort into this and you made something really irresistible, you probably attract a lot more people. So that can be a little bit confronting, but a little bit of a wake-up call. Maybe you need to make a better lead magnet if things aren't working out. And then the other thing I talked about was the whole like ICA thing, ideal customer avatar. If you create something really generic and it's like for parent-teacher night or open night or something, and you're just going to get all these random people joining your email list, they are not the right people for your niche. That's not great. You're wasting your time. And you've got this big list that is not going to convert. You aren't going to be able to sell to people because you've got the wrong people on your email list. So you want to make sure it's niche enough that you're attracting your ideal customer. So if you teach kindergarten, you might make this kindergarten resource, and then you're going to be attracting only kindergarten teachers. And then when you try to sell a kindergarten resource to your email list later, that's great because you're actually talking to kindergarten teachers, not high school teachers. So something to think about there. But anyway, I hope this has really helped. Like I said, I'll link in the show notes. My email course is open and it's got everything. Like in the lead magnet module alone, there's like a whole module all about lead magnets, talking about choosing it, what it should look like, how many you should have, the creating the opt-in forms, sending that freebie and resource libraries and just like all of the information about it, a lot of the questions you probably have. And then, of course, there's all these other modules too, about how to set up your email list, how to grow your email list, how to write emails, how to make money from your email list. Like it's just kind of got everything you need to know. And I think one of the great things about taking courses or programs or joining memberships or whatever is that you have all those answers in one place. There's nothing worse than spending hours and hours and hours trying to Google every single question you have, or writing in a Facebook group and being like, how many lead magnets am I supposed to have again? And like just feeling like you have so many questions. And that's what email marketing does. It's kind of like this very intense form of marketing. There's a lot of questions. And then a lot of the time you also don't really get a very definitive answer. When you Google something, you're not necessarily going to get an answer from someone that actually has experience in that area when it comes to TPT and teachers. These generic articles and YouTube videos about email marketing, as helpful as some of them are, they're not specific to teachers. They're not specific to TPT. They have nothing to do with what we do. And so they, a lot of the time, don't really apply. So it's really nice to know, okay, this is going to be all about TPT stuff. And so like throughout the course, I'm like saying examples about if you were in this niche and you're doing this, and it's like talking about TPT and teachers and stuff. So definitely a little bit more helpful. Saving time from all that Googling, basically. And I think the reason it's important to know what you're doing with email marketing is because at the end of the day, you are paying for it. It's not one of those like free marketing platforms where you can just start a Pinterest account and then never spend any money on it. Like with email marketing, you do have to pay for your email service provider. And so there is this investment, and that can be quite, confronting when you think about, hey, I'm putting this money every month and I'm not making any money back. And that can be really stressful. So it's important to know what you're doing from day one. It's important to actually be able to grow your list and have it convert. Otherwise, it doesn't work out very financially viable. So you want to know what you're doing. I think it's really great to learn how to do it. Anyway, like I said, links in the show notes. Check it out. Terrific email. I really, really hope it helps. And I hope that you have a terrific day.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Terrific Teacherpreneur. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and review on your preferred podcast listening platform. We really appreciate that effort. Come back for more actionable tips and helpful wisdom in the next episode with your host, Alex. Until then.